Okay, we're going to call a meeting to order. This is the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation special meeting agenda. Special meeting. It is 6 p.m. on June 30th, 2026, and we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start by doing our Pledge of Allegiance, so you'll stand, and we'll start with the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag, honor of the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible. And indivisible. Thank you. We are opening up the floor for citizen comments, but I don't believe we have any today, so we'll skip right on to the agenda. Present today is Ryan Lundeen, Dan Walker, myself, and Casey Olson. Okay. Thank you. Missing Arnett Easley and Wade Nelson and Carol Langley. So let's get started here. Item number 4, we're going to have to skip around just a little bit today, but we'll get through this fairly quickly, I'm sure. Consideration possible action on the Economic Development Corporation special meeting minutes. Did anybody have any comments on the minutes from the past meeting in May? No? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. Then will we entertain a motion maybe to accept those meeting minutes?
That motion is
okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Motion by Dan, seconded by Ryan, that we accept the special meeting minutes of May 19th, 2026. I'll be sure to read these next time. It's amenable, debatable, but requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So the Economic Development Corporation special meeting minutes of May 19, 2026 are approved. Item number 5, presentation and discussion of the business improvement grant guidelines by Kimberly Gonzalez, who's our Assistant Director of Economic Development. Ms. Gonzalez, you are, you already have the floor. All right, we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Just as an aside, we do have an attorney here. It's one of my goals to streamline our meetings a little bit. So part of that is going to be having an attorney attend our meetings when we have them, and also probably setting up some type of board training in the future. I'm just reviewing all of the quorum guidelines and all of the rules for proper meetings. So you already know it, Daniel. So thank you for being here. Tonight, at some point, we're going to talk about our business improvement grant guidelines. We'll give it a second. Well, I'll do an introduction first. So this is going to be an overview of our initiative to support local businesses through targeted improvements and funding. Do you have the link I sent? You should be able to zoom in and play it as a presentation.
Here it is.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, there we go. So just as a quick introduction to the Business Improvement Grant Program, the MEDC's Business Improvement Grant Program is designed to encourage investment in local businesses and commercial properties by providing financial assistance for improvements that enhance the community's economic vitality and appearance. By supporting business growth, downtown revitalization, and commercial development, the program seeks to help create jobs, increase property values, attract visitors, and strengthen Montgomery's tax base while preserving the unique character that makes the community unique, Before we move forward, I just want to give a little bit of more of a preface before we really dig into the program. Next Thursday night, we're going to have a public meeting to discuss our downtown improvements project. As sort of part of that package that we were putting together for downtown improvements, we thought it was appropriate to also build in a separate grant program that businesses, not just in downtown, but any business in the city of Montgomery can utilize for different types of improvements. This is not like a unique, groundbreaking program. Many different communities have programs like this. For just to name a few, Tomball, Navasota, Huntsville, many different communities have very similar programs to the one that I'm presenting tonight. So what are some eligible improvements? Those include facade improvements, sign improvements, general property improvements, landscaping improvements, a business displacement grant, and a mega grant. So let's dig into each of these programs a little bit. The plan is to have this, the formal documentation, the guidelines, and the application in front of the board at the regular meeting at the end of July. So I wanted to get this in front of you before you see it then. So for facade improvements, this includes exterior front facade improvements. The grant amount will be 50% of the improvement up to a maximum of $10,000. This can include things like new facade elements, enhanced exterior building lighting. That's not just replacement, but it's making a significant change in the lighting outside the building, a significant masonry cleaning and or restoration. Sign improvements, these are for business signs. So, typically when you go into a business, that's kind of the first thing you see is the sign. So the goal of this is to help businesses, both new and existing, upgrade their signs. And the amounts for this is $2,500 for existing businesses and up to $1,000 for new businesses.
Wow.
General property improvements, this would include things such as decorative fencing, pedestrian, streetscape amenities, street furniture, curb and sidewalk. You'll see some overlay between these different categories, and honestly the point is to make this general broad enough to where there's a little bit of discretion from the board and for creativity from the businesses that come to us with something. This is again a 50%. These are all matching. These are matching grants, and this is reimbursement. So the company would have to pay the upfront cost. We verify that they have met the requirements, and then we pay back up to a certain amount of that project. We also have landscaping improvements for a maximum of $10,000. This is trees, vines, hedges, rocks, pebbles, things like that that the EDC would help. It's basically a beautification grant for that line item. I'll go to the mega grant and then we'll go back to the business displacement grant. The mega grant is up to $20,000, and this is for a multi-tenant retail commercial facility. So how this would work is, let's say you have one large property owner, they have multiple different tenants in that building. It would be $20,000 for up to $20,000 for the entirety of that building and all the businesses in it, if they wish to cover all of them, like a general building improvement grant. But there is a requirement that they would have to make an $80,000 investment on their own for a total improvement of $100,000.
Okay.
And last is the business displacement grant. So this one, it would be structured a little bit differently. This one would be up to 6 months and up to $10,000. And what this looks like is, instead of a reimbursement, it's on a month-to-month basis, and we match the rent for these businesses. So we've had issues in the past where, let's say, the intention is for a business that is bought out, that is no longer, or their building is sold, that can no longer stay in their current building, so they need to move somewhere else. It basically helps them for 6 months until they get established somewhere else. The funding ends at that point, and then they move on. So those are the eligible improvements. Yes?
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I know we want to hear the whole presentation, but when we're talking about these facade improvements, sign improvements, things like that, will there be any continuity guidelines?
That is something we can type of look we want to enact. There is wording in the guidelines that every project has to submit like what they're looking to do. That's part of the application process, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
And then that way the board has the discretion to say, this is really not what we're looking for, or this is what we're looking for. So there are some parameters we can put in place around what the facade exterior needs to look like.
Okay.
For the business displacement grant, would you hit that again? You said it's not a reimbursement, so what is it exactly? We're gonna pay their rent for 6 months?
No, we're not going to pay their rent for 6 months, and this is something we would have to, so what I've seen in the past is you're not paying the tenant of the building directly, you're paying the landowner, like the business owner, and you're supplementing a portion of that rent. So you're not paying, let's say there's a flower shop, you're not paying that flower shop directly, you're paying the holder of that entire building, and you're helping supplement that rent for a certain number of months.
So you're saying though, what they've been displaced from this building here and they found another one that
Yes.
they're in?
Yes.
Not just waiting to?
No, so we would require them to submit, this is where, and I feel like this would be a very rare occasion that this would happen, hypothetically, right? So they come to us, they say, I've been displaced, this building was bought out, I found a new place. We're not finding real estate for them. They have found a new place, this is the documentation for how much it's going to cost, and then we can either approve or deny helping pay a portion of that rent for up to 6 months. So it could be something that y'all are like, we'll do it for a month, but we're not going to do it any longer. Or the board could choose to not include this portion of it. It's totally up to the board. It is something we wrote in at the request of some board members due to current, recent displacement of certain businesses.
Okay.
Well, I just don't feel it's the city or the taxpayers' responsibility to help. It's just not the taxpayer's responsibility, period.
That's good to keep business in town, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, here's the problem, is if the business is displaced and they have found a new place and they can't afford to be there, whether we pay their rent or not, they ain't gonna stay in business, so we're just throwing money away.
Well, it depends on if they're just looking for a leg up instead of a hand out is kind of the way that's been. I actually like the way you've done that with the 6 month. I mean, putting a time up to. The fact is, most businesses will not do that. You know, I mean, but in other words, if they can't afford the rent, they can't afford the rent. You know, and so, but
There is
That's my
also
point exactly.
There's also a clause in these guidelines that within 2 years, so the business that receives funding from the EDC must remain in that location for 2 years. So from 24 months of the disbursement of the grant money, they must remain in that location, and if not, the EDC has the authority to claw back those funds with a 10% interest attached.
okay.
So there is a bit of a safeguard in there for the EDC.
It forces them to stay in business and continue to grow.
And as part of course, and I'll be handling the applications, making sure they're ready to actually bring to the board. The board will have final approval of yes or no to businesses.
Okay.
But as part of that, we will we will give them the guidelines and sit down and explain, especially when it comes to something like this. We also have it written in, thanks to Mary Ann that recommended, that we write in that it's taxable income as well. So laying out very specific, this is what we expect, and this is the burden of proof is truly on the business owner.
Casey, I don't see it being that much. I don't see it being used, to be honest with you, that much. I mean,
No, I'm with you. I don't see it being used a ton either, but the fact is that we won't always be on the board, right?
yeah, that's true.
And we've had less than scrupulous people on this board before.
Let me ask a question. Would you like to write something into the guidelines, because you do this when it comes to tax abatement guidelines? Would you like to write into the guidelines that these have to be renewed every 2 years?
That it has to be reviewed.
Renewed.
Oh, renewed,
Yeah,
yeah.
like every 2 years, whoever's on the board has to come back, re-vote for what's in these guidelines.
That's not a bad
Puts
idea.
a term limit on the guidelines and adds some.
I don't know about every 2 years, but that, I see what you're saying is to, if there's new voices on the board, we probably should have some sort of checks and balances for that. I don't know if that's a good idea for every 2 years, but maybe every 4 years would probably be more. But that is a good stopgap to if for some reason it doesn't get, or every 3 years that you go back and you review the guidelines for amendments, changes, things like that. What do you think?
I'm okay with 2 years.
2 years is fine.
2 years is fine with you? Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so we will put in a limit of 2 years for these guidelines. So every 2 years from the date that they are approved,
Okay.
they'll have to come back and be presented to the board again.
Just to make sure, it's kind of like the meeting minutes, you want to just make sure it's all the
It's
dots.
pretty standard when it comes to a lot of like economic development programs, when it comes to things like property taxes. So it's not out of the realm of, not out of the realm of normalcy to bring them back. And, it's always good to review your policies you have in place. You
Well,
might
things change. I mean, all
Yes.
the time, especially
And
here.
And as you go through a program like this, you'll want to add stuff and you'll want to take stuff out. And you'll want to clarify language. So it's a good stopgap measure.
Okay?
So that's the eligible improvements and a general description of what's included in the guidelines. So eligible businesses, pretty straightforward. Businesses located within the city limits of Montgomery, startups are eligible for funding, and established businesses would qualify for this program.
Okay?
Okay, guidelines. This is just highlights, it's not all inclusive.
Right.
But some big points from the guidelines. The applicant must provide proof of ownership of the property or have the property owner approval of a lease building. So if somebody's leasing a building, we're not gonna just let them go in and start doing improvements. We need it in writing from the property owner that they have approved the grant application. And the owner has to actually sign off on the grant application. That's built into that as well. A business may receive up to 2 grants per fiscal year for an amount up to $20,000. The reason it's $20,000 is because the mega grant is $20,000, and that's our cap. All grants, with the exception of the business displacement grant, are reimbursement grants. Applicants shall be responsible for obtaining the necessary permits from the city of Montgomery. Applicants must begin the improvement project within 1 year or 12 months from receiving application approval from the MEDC. And applicants must not sell the property or close within 24 months of grant payment by the MEDC, and that's when that clawback clause kicks in. Funding. Okay, upon funding of the project, a MEDC representative, me, shall confirm completion in accordance with the grant application and guidelines. If compliant with the application and grant guidelines, the reimbursement will occur within 60 days of inspection. In this, the applicant is required to submit photographs, all their cost estimates, their receipts, all those things have to be included when they go to request reimbursement. We need to be really careful about keeping proper documentation. We want to make sure that we are following all of the rules, so that is part of that. If improvements have not been made in accordance with the grant application and guidelines, the business shall have 60 days to become compliant before the grant is forfeited. So if somebody presents something to us and we think it's going to be one thing, and then I go out and it's something completely different, they're not going to get their reimbursement. They're going to have to follow through with what they say they're going to do in their application, or they're not going to receive their reimbursement.
Okay.
For fiscal year 2026-2027, $25,000 has been set aside in the MEDC budget for the Business Improvement Grant Program. We can increase this, we can decrease it, we can make changes as we go throughout the year, and we see what the interest is in the program. So really quickly, we'll go through the application and approval process, just a really broad overview of the steps that are involved in applying for the program. If you could go ahead, slide please. So step 1 is submission of the application form and reviewed by the Assistant Director of Economic Development. Applicants must complete and submit the grant application form, ensuring all required information is included. And again, my job will be to educate the applicant, make sure they have all the documentation necessary, bring it to the board for final approval. You'll have the ultimate say of what does or does not receive grant reimbursement funding. Step 2 is review by the Economic Development Corporation. The EDC will consider submitted applications to give final approval or denial. Step 3 is approval notification. Once the application is reviewed, applicants will receive an approval or denial email, be it denial letter. I will notify them if they receive the grant funding. Step 4 is fund disbursement upon completion of improvements. Funds will be dispersed to approved applicants after the completion of the agreed upon improvements following a final review. Next, please. Any
Q&A.
questions?
First off, great work. Really, really good. We've been wanting something like this for a long time because there's been a lot of ambiguity with respect to businesses and grants. And really, we would just sit here and pontificate about what's fair and what's not. But to have some sort of an actual boilerplate process in place makes life so much easier for them and for us to be able to to be able to help improve these businesses. One thing I would like to, I think there should be with respect to signs and, and facade is maybe we have some, even landscape, have some guidelines to try to find some way to create the continuity I was mentioning so that we look a little bit more concentric. So you don't have somebody putting a giraffe building next to you know what I'm saying? In other words, there's some level of continuity to give it the look that we're trying to create. And maybe we can even...
You're talking about downtown, the historic overlay takes care of most of that. It already, it's suggestions. We don't have anything in the code that requires people to do anything.
Right.
But the suggestions are there, so we can use those as a tool.
Okay.
Will everybody look exactly the same? I'm going to say no.
Right.
And remember, because she wasn't here for all this, so as she was going through it, I was thinking of this. As we go to this McGowan Street project, way back when, there was ideas of doing some of this on private property. That's always a problem for us because we need to stay within, the easement where we're doing it. This is the method we can use to help those businesses on private property improve their businesses. For example, some of the steps, that are on McGowan that are terrible, and this is the way we can do that cleanly.
Yeah.
Because we have to be fair, like you said, equitable across.
I think the businesses will welcome this because it's been long overdue, and there's really, I heard earlier there were some disgruntled businesses downtown that you don't do anything for us. Well, we're going to do something for you now, and we're going to make sure that you have equal opportunity with the other your co-businesses in the area. I think this downtown meeting coming up, it's a Thursday, not a week from Thursday, correct?
Yes, it's Thursday the 9th. 9th,
Yeah.
6 p.m.
Thursday the 9th. I think that will, to get some businesses downtown business, or these are downtown improvement businesses, correct?
This is a general business improvement grant. So this allows anyone in the city limits to apply for these grants to update their businesses. It gives fair opportunity to all of them. for
Okay.
consideration.
I was curious if you could do a downtown add-on, if you're downtown you get an extra percentage, or is that unfair?
No, if the board wants to structure it that way, we can. There are some cities that do structure it to do. So I modeled our guidelines in large part after the city of Tomball. They have a really great program that they put together. They broke theirs out into a couple of different sections. So what I did is I made a master grant program to kind of put all the businesses on equal footing. Because what you do if you're creating a downtown grant program is you are targeting more specific areas. So you're targeting More so the facade, if you're doing, like, you wanna do the consistent look, that's not making sense. But we can add on a specific for downtown, what would that look like for you? What are you
Just
thinking?
offering additional incentives or maybe enforcing those the downtown guidelines as rules in order to get requirements, but really just incentivizing that more, incentivizing the facade improvements in downtown.
You know what we could do? We could put together for the board a scoring sheet and give more weight to businesses that are in downtown.
Yeah, because we went through a consulting firm and they put together some really good facade street. What's that?
Well, the drawings.
Yeah, all the drawings and the photographs and everything, and it really did look good the way they had structured
You're
everything.
talking about the retail strategy
Correct.
report?
Yeah, so maybe we kind of circle back to that, and you know, since we've already done the work on it and everybody seemed to like it, maybe we go back. Do you think so, Ryan, or you think
I
maybe?
don't remember all the specifics in that, but I'm thinking like there might need to be more help downtown. And we want to really push that because we can't work outside the right of way. So just really making sure we're emphasizing that.
We could do 2 separate pots of money. We could keep the guidelines relatively the same.
Or just a separate, yeah, I mean.
We
just
can
a-
think
The
through
board
that.
would have the power to, you know, create something like that. We can't really force anybody on private property to do anything other than what our ordinances and codes say.
But I'm saying incentivize
But,
them.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The board could incentivize it to do certain things, facade, like the planners it was part of that plan. I mean, that was a big part of that. Then on McGowan Street, we kind of added that in already, although, you know, half of those businesses are spaced 149, so that we didn't go that side yet. But this would give the opportunity to do so, you know, and you could also create from that type of a deal planners and different things that are recommended.
Yeah.
And I think you
That's
could
kinda what I was
drive
looking
that.
for.
You could drive that look by recommending, hey, this is what everybody's going to be doing. We're hoping, and without forcing.
With the scorecard though, I think if someone just doing, how does that work? Is that just for approval, like we're scoring it, or is it a scorecard based? If you score
Yeah, the
higher,
issue-
you get more
The
money.
issue you have when like you get into the scoring is, my thought process would be you would want to be considering multiple different ones at the same time. Like
Yeah, that's what I was
multiple-
getting
yeah,
at. We could
like-
get one in.
Yeah, so then it doesn't, we can,
Or we would do it like a sliding, if you score 100, you get 100% funding, and you get more scores for being downtown. I don't know. I'm just thinking, I'll
Yeah,
let
no,
you
no.
chew on it.
I'm thinking through it too.
I'm thinking out loud, so.
I mean, like Brent said, we could put into the guidelines, like, this is what is recommended, like, based on the code, based on what the retail strategies plan said, this is what we recommend, and then when they come in, you can give higher priority to those businesses that have those
Well, I'm saying like
elements.
if you do higher requirement for downtown, like, I don't know if that's what we're saying or not, but if we have retail strategies and you have to adhere to this theme, well, that's probably gonna put more of a burden on them to make those improvements, I'm assuming. So I'm saying like, can we up
I see what
the
you're saying.
benefit to help them get over that threshold?
You wanna up how much, like, the EDC funds them?
Sure, yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
yes.
It's up to the board.
I think so, because I agree with Ryan. The downtown businesses are the ones that seem to need this.
But I would caution you, because then you are placing downtown businesses as
Above this.
above. You want to keep everyone on an even playing ground, and that's one reason that I structured this the way I did, is so that anyone in the city limits could benefit from this. Because we are focusing on downtown. That's what our, even if it's not seen that way, you know, that's what our downtown improvements project is doing. That's one large part of us doing this. There's also other businesses in town that would take
Right.
advantage of this.
Well,
So
you-
we can do what the board wants. I would just caution against, we could potentially create a completely separate program, but I would caution against putting their percentage higher
Higher.
than.
I just don't know if it's like I'm treating them unfairly because they've got older buildings or because we have stricter requirements for downtown, that I wouldn't see it as us favoring them. We're just helping them because of the special circumstances that they're in. Is that a wrong way to think about that? Like, if we need you to go, okay, if you're outside downtown, you need to do X, but if you're in downtown, you do X, Y, and Z, but that's gonna cost 3 times as much money potentially, I don't know. Can we help them get over that threshold to make those improvements? Because we want to beautify downtown. I don't know if we really necessarily care about.
I mean, okay, let's look at it this way. If we put together a kind of a streetscape package that we would love to see them adopt, but they would have to participate obviously, and then we would do a matching grant. If they choose to adopt that streetscape that we've sort of laid out for them, so that we give them a vision, because a lot of people don't even know what they need to do to start to make the improvements. Something that will fit in Ms. Tilley's wheelhouse to make sure that the permitting and the ordinances are in step, in lockstep with what we already have in place. I think what Ryan's trying to say is it would be nice to have some consideration for that. The fact that they're like Brent was saying, that they have agreed to kind of.
Maybe, I get what he's saying, maybe carve that out where it's not part of the grant, sort of like we're doing, let's just say there's certain elements of the plan that you like, and you want to pay for, that for all the businesses or something, sort of like we're doing on McGowan Street. We're doing that whole area with light poles and everything. I mean, most of it's in our easement, but if you were trying to be consistent with the look of downtown, you might be able to fund that separate of a grant that would make it cleaner.
I'm okay with that. I just don't know if we're capable of doing that, or if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. And the attorney's sitting here, but offering something special to one and not the all. I mean, it's that whole thing again. If you create an unfair advantage just for certain businesses, you run into.
We'll say like on the downtown, we want to do. I guess planter boxes are inside the right of way, but say there's some type of special brickwork or something or access that we want to add to the private property. We don't require that for that's not a part of the downtown plan. We don't have a master city plan of improvements. We focus on beautifying downtown. I'm just thinking, like, if there are areas outside of our right of way that we want to improve that we can't, how do we incentivize those businesses to help them, kind of thing, like meet in the middle? And I thought maybe we could do it through this, but maybe it's a separate way of saying, like, hey, here's our plan for downtown. Come to us if you want to implement it on your property. Maybe that's a separate thing.
I think you could create a downtown specific. Just remember that the dollar amounts, you could always do it where you prove it. This is the plan that we prefer. This is the stuff we prefer, the looks with the historical overlay. But I think you keep the money, flexible enough where you can do that. But you need to keep it 50-50, or otherwise you're improving something on private property that you can't offer to everybody on the,
Well, I would think that once we do our project in our right of way, then we see not necessarily a violation. There's going to be some code things that they're going to have to bring up to be able to access. But I'm thinking we're creating a new front door for them. Also, a lot of those businesses that's the back of their property.
Right.
We're going to have to do something to be able to obviously make their steps better, their deck, whatever on the back, to make that facade look a front and back. In other words, you got.
But it is their property.
Well, absolutely.
So
we need to give them a concept of what we're looking for to match what we just did down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And to comply with that, you qualify for this.
Right. I think businesses would really be open to that.
Oh, I
know I
agree
would
too.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think you captured. What we're going for here. We're trying to create some continuity if possible. Even Tomball, has done that in their downtown, and for sure Navasota has. They created some continuity in their downtown. So I'm not sure what that looks like, but maybe within the guides of Mr. David and you and Brent and everybody, kind of in our retail strategies that we've already, we've got some pretties already put in place. It could be planners, it could be colors, it could be flags. There's just all kinds of things that we could do to create some continuity. But
So, just to make sure I have clear direction, it sounds like there is a desire to have something specific for downtown, but just with guidance attached to that.
right,
So something similar to what's already here.
Right.
You just want additional guidance attached to that for downtown.
right, and
Well, it sounds like we have that, and I'm just saying, like, it may be a cost burden on them to meet that, I don't know. And so can we make sure that we
We
help
can put
compensate?
that in these guidelines and keep it how it's structured now. Like, we could put the recommendations in these guidelines, but if we're talking about creating a completely separate plan, I just need to know so I can do it, so I can get it in front of y'all.
I mean,
I think the plan stays the same, but the guidelines are
Yeah.
just added because and this is where, let's just say we offered it to all of downtown. And they came back and 10 of them applied. And like 5 of them didn't want to do that, period. And 5 of them did. I mean, you could score them somehow without being unfair. The grant is still the grant. You can
Right.
still help the others.
right.
That's something you can do that keeps it legal.
I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, we don't want to go too far out.
well, we've focused for years at the EDC is for that downtown area to preserve that, to keep it restored. And I mean, obviously, as the city grows, it's going crazy. I mean, that's been our main focus
Well,
anyway.
You're right. So the idea is to help them help themselves, basically, and to do it within the guidelines of a city that reflects historic values as well as the kitschy, cool nature that Montgomery offers. So that
And maybe some of these qualify for the mega grant too. That's where
right,
being real specific in there, you possibly could address, if somebody had a big enough business with multiple tenants, which is the case in some of those down there.
Right.
And they really wanted to do something, that's something we could look at. And then you could ask for a recommendation, or you could give them guidelines of what you would like it to look like, and then, score it based on that, say, we'll do this. But we have to be fair, and they have to have skin in the game. We can't just put money on private property
Right.
and say, here you go, we made it look good for you.
I think this is an awesome start to getting this a little closer. It will also let the businesses downtown and all businesses in Montgomery really know that we do have their back and we're willing to participate in their improvement. That's really what, to me, economic development is all about. Not just bringing new businesses in, but helping the ones that are already here. So the displacement, the signage improvements, all the things that you mentioned, the fascia, all these things will go hand in hand with giving them, maybe they can even be a part of creating the overall look. Good luck.
We'll make recommendations.
Good luck getting them all to
We
agree
will
on
make
that.
recommendations.
Yeah.
We'll put recommendations in this.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Britt will help.
Brent will help you, but we've already skinned this cat once, and we know exactly. I mean, when I tell you ad nauseum, we've gone through the downtown improvement look that we think everybody here agreed to over and over again, but we never got it to the finish line. So there's got to be some elements of that everybody would agree to that we might be able to provide some consideration within the guidelines that.
Are we keeping it at $25,000?
I don't know if that's going to be enough. Are you thinking that? I mean, that's the max budget.
Yeah, but I mean, you can always come back and adjust that.
We can?
You got to have a target.
Yeah. What do you think, Brent? Is that enough?
I mean, we got to start it somewhere. We got to see who's going to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to throw too much in there and then I'll be able to do anything with it. So, okay, let's leave it at 25. Everybody
Keep
okay
it
with
on
that?
target.
Okay.
Okay. We'll work on this.
Okay.
Bring it back to you.
Thank you for putting the presentation together. It's so nice to have an economic development assistant director. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we will jump ahead then, and we're going to go to, we're at item number 6. So number 7.
Yes. We're gonna go to 7.
Okay, so this is a presentation and discussion of the fiscal year 2026-2027 MEDC budget. And, wow, Mary Ann's here.
I'm here.
Hi, Mary Ann.
All right, so tonight this is not for you to take any action on, but when we come back to the July meeting, we will need to take action on this because this will need to be brought to council for them to include with the proposed budget that will be adopted. I think it's on August 11th. So this is your opportunity to take a look at what staff has put together and provide feedback and recommendations if you have anything.
I have a question for line number 5. What is that concern? What is that? Consulting professional services. What are we consulting services?
So in this particular line item for this year, we have the Encode Plus, which is the overlay piece that goes to the GIS
yes.
that helps with the development pieces. This is that whole KKC thing.
Yeah, but
Right.
I thought we were going to use KKC's platform. That's why we paid for it.
Yes, but this is what you're paying for.
It is
This
a code.
Encode Plus is a part of that. Not Encode, not the financial software, but Encode.
Okay.
So
And
there are
the
two
connection
components.
with EDC is now they can click on it, and let's say a guy's a developer or whatever can click on it and they can look at available properties and all of that. That is,
Absolutely, but it wasn't 56,000. It was 10,000 a year.
It's not. It's $11,250.
Okay.
Okay. There is another $10,000 that is for HDL, and HDL is who we get the sales tax data from. This is the pieces that we use for forecasting, for tracking, deals with the payments that go out in the 380 agreements that are driven by sales tax repayment. I believe we also included a small portion in here this year for another service that HDL has that has to do with that, what is that service called?
It's an economic development specific part of HDL that provides very specific demographic data.
Thank you.
That we can, so we'll use that when we start putting out RFIs. And just like for any general calls that we have, they're always looking for very specific data that we can't really pull from the census just because of how small we are and it's not as exact. So that's what that will be for.
And then the remaining $35,000 was a to be determined. Brent had asked that we put that in there in the event that we have any additional type of general consulting that we might need to, whether that be from an engineering standpoint or whatever we might come across. This would be, that was the recommendation, was to put the additional $35,000 in there.
Okay.
mostly professional services that will probably end up on a project, but we put it here so we can track it better.
Okay. So my next question is the transfer to general fund.
Yes. The transfer to general fund is the piece that takes care of all of the administrative services for the EDC. So this includes things such as a portion of the annual audit. 10% of the overall cost for the annual audit is billed to the EDC as a component unit because they're included in the audit. It includes a portion of the city administrator. It includes a portion of city secretary because you're getting city secretary services in running the meeting, preparing the agendas, providing minutes. It provides a portion of finance support because we provide all of the financial services, pay the bills.
Oh, got it.
26.
It includes the full portion, the full salary with the MEDC assistant director.
It provides computer, phone, tech support, meeting and conference space, the multimedia live stream web that happens with these meetings, and then the allocation of office space for the office across the street.
Marianne, would it be, I mean, is it possible for us to get this broken out a little bit more than just these big bold numbers? Can you, I'm sure you've got
I
it.
can provide you that back.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, I think we did that last time, just so you can track all
Yeah.
those individual line items.
I'd just like to see what's included in these bigger numbers, especially if possible.
Yeah, I can give you a copy of
Okay,
that.
thank you, yeah.
And then the next one I have is for Miss Tilly on the wayfinding signs. What was the total transfer to capital this year? Oh, she left.
No,
Okay.
she's back there.
No, she's there.
Okay.
So far, we paid $425,000.
Okay.
And we're doing that next year.
We
Yeah.
expect the other portion.
Project was like 900 after we did the extra, yeah. Okay.
I do have a question regarding our sales tax revenue. Our actuals up through that's only second quarter. So we're anticipating 10-20% increase in sales tax revenue, or is that pretty close to 829?
So we did a 3% increase.
3%?
We did a 3% increase.
Oh, yeah, because I'm looking at adopted,
Right,
okay.
so the 3% increase is over the current fiscal year adopted, so the current FY '26 adopted is $805,000.
Got it.
We're proposing $829,150. The
Okay.
thing that you have to keep in mind when we look at our sales tax projections is that there are multi-pieces that make up our sales tax deposit every month. You have your regular collections, then you have audit collections, you have one-time collections. So when we look at, sometimes we get very large audit deposits. We can't count on those year after year. Those are a one and done kind of thing.
Right.
So when we look at these, when we use forecasting tools through HDL, what we're really concentrating on is those regular collections.
Okay.
Now, of course, one of the things that we can't see in those regular collections are new businesses coming online.
Right.
And so we anticipate that. Right now, we're being a little conservative. We might be able to go a little bit more on that as we get, further into this next month and get our collection in July and see where we're at.
I know this is way out there, but as far as, have there been any projections? I'm sure there are. So, and I know you're being conservative on the budget, and that's fine, but do you anticipate some of
As
the...
far as sales tax revenues coming online, not that have been shared with me. So if there is information.
You don't have a crystal ball or anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, one of the things that I would also share is, you may recall a couple of years ago when there was a big grocery store that came online in a neighboring community. The first collection and payment of those sales tax dollars came to the city of Montgomery, and they were not the city of Montgomery's dollars. And so we had to wait until the comptroller bought them back. And so that's always something that we look at is, okay, we can anticipate we're probably going to have very large increase in sales tax dollars with a
New businesses?
business coming online later this calendar year.
Yeah.
But we also are believing that those will be quarterly payments that we receive.
Okay.
And so depending on timing as to when that comes online, depends on when we're going to see those receipts.
Okay.
I think it's fine to assume 3%, and if
Lined up
Yeah,
correctly
a
first
big
time around.
tax break comes in, wherever, then we
It's
have
a bonus.
surplus, then we can, and we know where we want to spend it anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this lays it out. fine.
Yeah, I think my only question would be, or my only comment would be to get a more broken out budget, and so that we can be rather informed. If we have any questions, can we ask you? Is it okay to ask direct?
I have it for you. I can actually give it to you. That's not a problem.
Okay.
They're in there.
But my question is,
the
Dave,
the
Mr.
lines
Dave.
that have, I can just go over the lines if that's helpful, that have breakdowns like that. So the general consulting is one that we've just touched on.
Okay.
The transfer out to general.
Can you give me the expense number, please?
5,
5.
6.
Okay.
So line 5, line
26.
26, and then the other line is 13, the travel and training line.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's the other one that I have
So it's really only a few, yeah.
Yeah, the other ones, I don't have itemized breakdowns on any of those because they're pretty much either a project cost or.
Yeah.
Was there anything else in there, Casey, that you saw?
Nope,
Okay,
the rest of them were pretty straightforward.
okay.
Those two, I just figured there was a lot stacked up in there.
Do you know off the top of your head, after the wayfinding signage and this McCown Street, what our surplus balance is?
If we subtract out next year's budget.
So, so you'll see up under your revenue,
Yeah. Is that what-
item number 4.
Yeah, I
is
see
your
that, that's all of it?
Surplus funds of 2.9.
I didn't know, is that all of it?
We're currently at about 3.6.
Yeah, okay.
So it'll be a good chunk of it. So,
Okay.
all right.
Any other
other
questions?
questions in here?
I think that's it.
Anything else that you know of? You can get
No.
All right, sounds good. I
All
will
right.
send you out, tomorrow, I'll send you out that itemization.
Be awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you, Brent. All y'all working on it. Okay, so we are going to jump ahead then to, that takes care of 6 and 7. We're Montgomery Economic, item number 8, closed session. Montgomery
Can you
Economic.
go to number 6, please?
I'm sorry?
Number 6.
Oh, 6. Oh, you're right. Okay. I thought we had, yeah. Okay, so presentation, discussion of the 213 Prairie Street property regarding potential use options. And I believe, Kimberly, you're going to give us some,
Yes, I'm back again.
okay.
Talk about 213 Prairie Street.
All right, 213, here we go.
Can you zoom in, please, Ruby? Like, make it big, sorry, make it bigger on the right, like full screen it. The right bottom. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and you can go ahead and go to the next screen. And the next one. Okay, so just for a quick overview of the building at 213 Prairie Street, just before we start, we all know that we've had this building for a little while. It has not sold. And I looked into another option for what we could potentially do with it. So that's what this presentation is. Located in downtown Montgomery, it's approximately 4,800 square feet, previously used as a fire station and later converted into office space. This building includes several offices of varying sizes as well as a large shop area. The office portion of the building is air conditioned and electricity and plumbing are available throughout the property. The proposal. This proposed initiative will create a dedicated small business growth center where small businesses and startup companies can establish their operations, collaborate with one another, and accelerate their growth. Selected business owners will benefit from access to priority consideration for the business improvement grants. That's what we just talked about, so that would be one benefit of being in the small business center. Affordable and competitive rental rates and specialized training opportunities designed to strengthen their operations, enhance their competitiveness, and support long-term success. By fostering innovation, networking, and entrepreneurship, this space will serve as a catalyst for economic development and business sustainability within the community. This program, known as Montgomery Forge, Fueling Opportunity and Regional Growth Ecosystems, will enable and equip small businesses to locate in Montgomery, grow in Montgomery, and stay in Montgomery. It's a pretty little Montgomery Forge. Fueling Opportunity and Regional Growth Ecosystems, owned by the City of Montgomery Economic Development Corporation.
Awesome.
So what are the benefits of the Montgomery Forge for businesses? Well, number one would be competitive rental rates, and that's not to undercut the market, but to be competitive with the current market. We have those numbers later in the presentation. Priority business improvement grant consideration. Learning opportunities. This would look like setting up a monthly lunch and learns with businesses that are interested. We would collaborate with the Small Business Development Center. They have a lot of opportunities to help startup businesses, and that includes them learning how to do their finances, they even have like AI workshops, all sorts of things that we can really empower these small businesses with, tools that are already existing that we can really connect them with. and foster an entrepreneurial system creation here in the city of Montgomery. So this is our current building. If you could go ahead and move ahead, please. So proposed improvements and estimated cost. There's some work to be done. We all know that. We will need facade improvement, interior renovations, garage door replacements, remodel of the existing restroom and a bathroom or restroom addition, painting of interior and exterior surfaces, entryway redesign, a parking lot that would go around 3 sides of the building. I'll have a graphic for y'all for that later. HVAC service and enclosure, potential replacement, sidewalk and landscaping. We do have a rough estimate from a contractor here that's part of buy board, and the total cost estimate will be around $350,000 for these costs, for these improvements. Okay, here we have a floor plan. Let me try to explain. So right now, this is about 4,800 square foot. The front of the building is right here. Currently, the parking lot is only in the front, right here. We would turn this into our entryway. Here we would leave an open foyer, an open break room, add in a restroom, and turn this into maintenance and storage. The idea is to break this down into 3 separate spaces. So space number 1 is from this is a load bearing wall right here. From this spot over, that's the shop area. That's around 2,700 square foot. This would be 1 office space or business space, retail business, more than likely. That's the first space. Our second retail space would be here. That's 483 square foot after renovations. That's when accounting for the square footage you lose adding in a hallway. And this space down here, we would make the old waiting room and this front room into an office. This is around 663 square foot. Each of these offices would have its own private entryway. Here we would create one, there's already a door here at the back, so we would convert this into a private entry space with this, a private entry space here. Here we have, there's 3 garage doors here that we would have to replace. We would create a completely separate new entrance right here to really create a private space for each business, but they're all in the same space. They're all learning from one another. They're all talking, and we also gain parking. Here, we'll redo this parking lot. Here, there's another business. I think it is right here, so there's not a lot of room back here. You can't do anything with this. We would add in a parking lot here, here, and here. Could you skip to the next slide, please? So, this is kind of what that entryway would look like when we redo it. This would just be like a communal space, people to come into. When we did our workshops, we would set up here in the common room for our small business courses, training courses, and things like that. If you could skip ahead, please. This is just a concept design of what this would look like if we were to move forward with redoing the facade, doing all the renovations. Could you skip ahead one more, please? And then this is another example of what, a couple of options. This is what this could look like if the money were put into the building to renovate it.
Beautiful.
So, our current market rate, when not accounting for any renovations, is about $12 per square foot. The market area is $12 to $15. That's the going rate based on the market study we had done. So when you break it down into Office 1, Office 2, and Office 3, you can see here the rental rates for each of those offices, and then a combined monthly income and a combined annual. So let's say we do renovations, we end up marketing it for $14 a square foot. Office 1 will pull in around $3,800 a month, Office 2, $676, Office 3, $928. Our combined monthly income to the EDC would be $5,425, $65,100 over the course of the year. So this is just a breakdown where you can really see what this would look like long term for us if we were to keep this building, lease it out, even if we were to lease it out at a little bit of a lower rate than maybe what some other buildings are leasing for.
Can you tell me what the other buildings in the area are leasing for right now?
The market rate we have, based on the independent study we had done, is in that like $13 to $15 range.
13, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So what type of businesses would you be trying to attract with, say, a 12-foot roll-up door? I mean, you know,
I mean, we would have to replace those doors, right? You're talking about the big garage
when you say
doors.
replace them, you mean get
Yeah,
rid of them?
we could get rid of them, or we could replace them with prettier, like glass doors.
Yeah.
We could target a specific industry. So I'll get to this in just a little bit, but, well, could you go ahead, one please? Okay, so these are some similar programs from other cities. One of those is the Depot on Main. This is through the city of Buda. I love that they're doing this at the same time we have this building open. What the city of Buda has done is they have actually retained, once again, possession of their old train depot. They are building it out right now. They're going through this process right now. I talked to their economic developer. They are turning the depot into a space for retail businesses.
That's awesome.
For retail businesses to come in, get started, hopefully grow, and stay in the city. So I pulled similar programs. So to answer your question, we could target who do we want to attract. And that's the beautiful thing about having
We can create the mixed use that we want. I love it.
so
This accelerator program.
We don't own it yet, that's the problem.
who?
MEDC.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
So based off
You're
what
right.
you own it and your plans.
We own it, but we owe the city.
Yeah.
We own it.
The minute we decide we're gonna improve it, we have to pay the city.
So let's talk about who has similar programs, and then let's go to that. So again, the city of Buda, they have a couple of different programs. They have the Depot on Main. That is a space solely for retail companies. They are in that process right now. They're going through the same thing that we're talking about right now. They're setting rental rates. They're figuring out their guidelines around this program, who they want to be in there, you know, what that's going to look like for them. They also have the Buda Hive. That is a startup space for startup businesses, and they do educational programs like I mentioned earlier, a collaboration with, a lot of times there's just power in having the community, so that's what Buda Hive is created. It's having that community of business owners around you. City of Brenham, they have also done something very similar to this. It was in existence for a few years, and then I believe they sold it to a private individual. I actually have a meeting with them set up next week to talk to them about that process. The woman who did that program has retired, I believe. They had a very similar program. The city of Eden, Texas, they have a very similar program where they have a small business collaboration space, and so does Texas City. They call theirs the Phoenix. Theirs is pretty cool. It's in their downtown area, and it's a startup space with common meeting spaces, educational opportunities, discounted rental rates, things like that.
I love accelerator program. Any kind of accelerator. Give people a start. Yeah,
Could
this is
you
fun.
go ahead one, please? Okay, let's talk about our risks and considerations. Number one, we have our operating cost. We know that it's not just going to be the cost of the renovations, but the cost of maintaining the building, utilities, all of those things we have to consider when considering what to do with the building. Ultimately, it's a board decision. I'm just presenting what one of the options is. Another one is going to be business tenure. How long will the businesses stay that are going to be in this building? And that's just a risky run with small businesses. You know, it's hard. The first 5 years are really hard for a business. This gives them a place that is hopefully a little safer than other places to start off, you know. But it is likely that some of them will do really well and some of them may stay a couple of years. Resource requirements, of course, it will take like an administrative, like admin will have to, you know, constantly work on this program. There again will be the utilities, setting up courses and things like that. That's just par for the course. And then, of course, we have the payment that's due to the city for 213 Prairie Property. And that is $830,000.
So what we could do, is there like a loan that we could do there as far as like paying it back over time?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, if we're gonna we've looked at this in multiple ways. We've spent a lot of time looking at it. We're like, is this make any sense? Does it work? And, you know, Dan had kind of mentioned it, you know, with everything that's happening, the value is gonna be there. The property is what's the value. If we sink some more money into this, long term, we're not losing anything. Yes, we owe that money to the city, but I think there's opportunity to work through it as possible. I mean, the city doesn't need the money tomorrow.
Are there any active offers on this property at this time? Is it still listed?
It's still listed. We have one, we're gonna have an executive session, and I'll explain that to you. But that's it right now, is the single one.
I mean, it should contain its value. It's in a good location.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what Kimberly
There's
and I
risks,
discussed.
but it's not, you know.
The location's not going to be replicated. I think that's the biggest thing for this property is like the location's not going to come around again. So it's how do you best utilize what you have, and then, you know, in a few years, hopefully the market's better.
How many parking spaces?
What did I miss? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 35 to 40.
I was gonna say
It's not
35.
exactly how we lay that out. I mean, we need a space for the dumpster.
Yeah. Well, we've got 7 total. But that's still a lot. That's a lot more than we have now.
Okay, so were there any comments on this slide?
So, I apologize, I keep having to walk out because I've got stuff going on, but, so the 800,000 we still owe the city plus the 350,000 is, well, 1.15 million, right? So at $65,000 a year, that's 18 years to pay back.
Yes.
But the building continues to grow.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not saying it won't increase in value, but that's money, we don't
Right.
have the 800,000 to pay the city, much less another 350,000 to put into it.
But the city's,
It's the entire budget for the year.
yeah, go ahead.
And our surplus, if you do the math after this year, is right, just less than $1 million. So we won't, we don't have the money to do that.
No, if you had to pay it back immediately, it would.
Couldn't do it.
It wouldn't function, but I don't believe that would be required if you had.
But we need that money. We're banking on that money to put into our city building over there. So yeah, we kind of do.
So you missed it when you had stepped out, but we do have, it's still on the market. We do have one deal. We'll roll straight from this into executive session. We can discuss everything. I wanted y'all to be able to see another option. It's been on the market for a little while. What could we do with this property in the location that it's in? The location's not going to come back. I mean, the location really is great. It's going to accrue value. Most of us know that there's a lot of talk about land development that's going to happen along that corridor. In a few years, the hope would be that you have gained some equity on that facility, especially if you've already done renovations on it. So that is the other side of the coin. Is it a risk? Yes. It's up to the board ultimately. It is a great opportunity to do something really unique for the city of Montgomery and to have the EDC's name on something
I
that I
love it.
really do think would be great.
I understand Casey's concern, but I love the idea of doing an accelerator program like that.
Especially in downtown, where we want
Oh.
businesses as a good testing ground.
It,
for businesses
it,
that
it would be,
Can you
yeah,
see it?
and it would give us a chance to do some mixed use in that area.
We get parking there. that
35.
We can use,
Absolutely. There's
35.
a lot of perks to it.
But we don't have the money, so we'd have to get the deal with the city
Yeah.
to get it to work.
So let's
Just
talk.
doing the improvements would make that building sellable, okay?
Yeah.
Could we get more than 1.1 million for it once we improve it? I have no doubt.
So let's talk about some of the proposed benefits for the community, and then we'll keep discussing it. So we'll have increased community engagement. This really would look really great. If it were a successful program, I do believe we would have a lot of community buy-in. Support small business growth, job creation, retains local entrepreneurs and supports the entrepreneurial system, and supports downtown revitalization. So at the same time that we're doing a downtown improvements project, we're also investing in a small business center right in downtown. It wraps up in that entire project we're already working on would be adding something like this to it. Can we move ahead a slide? So closing comments, and then we can discuss back and forth. The Small Business Center is an investment in the community's future by providing entrepreneurs with the resources they need to succeed. The city can cultivate new businesses, encourage job creation, and build a stronger, more diversified local economy. Over time, successful Forge businesses would hopefully expand into the private market, generating lasting economic growth and increasing the community's tax base. This program will aid in retaining homegrown businesses, revitalizing the downtown area, and reinforcing Montgomery's identity as a community that supports entrepreneurship and sustainable economic growth.
So are they limited to how long they can be there?
They're not.
Or are we just,
They're not,
perpetual?
but that is, again, because, yes, we owe the city, but because the EDC
Well, it's
owns.
not just that we owe the city, it's that if we want growth, right? So
Yes.
we're basically gonna create 3 businesses, and if they can stay there forever, that's the only 3 businesses we can spend all of our money.
You can put
Whatever.
term limits on it, like, time limits on it. It's not, the Phoenix in Texas City, I was reading their contracts today, and they have time limits of like 3 years that you can be involved in the program. So it is something that you could put a time frame on.
We own the building, and we would develop the program so we can make the turn.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that they're just not camped out there, because we're investing a lot of money into 3 businesses,
Right.
right? Well, our job is to not worry about 3 businesses, it's to worry about all the businesses, right?
And I think you want people to come in and then push them out, kind of.
It's really, that's really, and I do understand, because that's the difficult thing when you're looking at something like this, and you're seeing the numbers, and you're seeing, I understand, that's how my brain works too a lot of times. But the opportunity to create something for the community that is a space where they can get started, a space where they can hopefully grow, a space where we're doing workshops for small businesses, not just for, the businesses that are in there, for it to be a hub where small business owners can come, get resources, and then hopefully be successful. Like, that's the ultimate goal. It is difficult when you're looking at a program like this, because it's a very long-term focus. And it takes years to see results from something like this. That's just the truth of it.
Well, we got 35 new parking spots. That's
Yeah,
good. That's
what
good
else
enough
do you
in itself.
want?
isn't it?
So-
Like I said, the improvements I'm all for. I'm a little leery about the
Well,
camping on the.
what's the worst thing that can happen? We make the improvements and then we turn it and
Sell
flip it.
Sell it.
You also, if it's fully leased at some point, then if it's fully leased at some point, you could potentially have
oh,
an
for
investor
sure.
come in and buy it.
For sure, you could sell them. I think we'd have to have a deal with the city if we were going to do something like that for sure, because we don't have the money to pull it off right off the bat. We got too much going on right now.
If you go back in the history of all the things, every person that has come to us, minus the engineering group with piles of money, the challenge is the capital outlay they would have had to put into the building to make it usable for what they needed it for.
Right.
I mean, that's the same challenge we're looking at right here.
Right.
It's that building's been sitting there empty. There's been a lot of problems. I mean, without the capital to make the building usable, it's nothing. And in honesty, we don't know who's going to lease it. I mean, this could actually be 4 businesses. It could be even 5. Some people don't need the giant space, but they just
Right.
need the opportunity to get started.
Right.
I was telling, I don't know who, I think I told her, but I was downtown in Houston, and I went into a place and met a guy and started looking at the place I was in, and there was a little jeweler here, there was a whole bunch of these micro businesses in there, and they all paid like $500 a month, so what is it going to turn into? We don't really even know yet. I mean, but it's pretty easy to put up a wall and a wall and a wall. We just have to make sure that we have enough bathrooms, we have enough parking, and those are the main things that we looked at. That $350,000 is pretty much a build-out number. We don't really have to go that far, because we want buy-in from these businesses. They should put some money into this building as well.
Right.
That's why we had the grant part of this, because they should have skin in the game, even though we're trying to help them. You know,
Got
so
it. Yeah.
this is just a broad outline of what this could be, but there is some more. You know,
There hadn't been a lot of light at the end of the tunnel with respect to the MEDC. I mean, we've done some things that are good, and some things are coming, but it's taken forever to get it all. The wayfinding, McCown, you name it. But to actually do something that is economic development, to me, would be a great step in the right direction. I mean, we need to get buy-in. It's hard to get buy-in when you just talk and don't ever do anything. And now we have an assistant director who's willing to assist in getting something done. And look, everybody that's come to us before on this property wanted it financed. I mean, if we're going to finance it for them, why don't we finance it for us? So I just think you're not going to lose on this property. And we could build a lot of community continuity, which we absolutely need. I mean, businesses out there are desperate for a little love. And this gives us a chance to bring people together and teach them. That's the other thing, you know, if they want to come willingly and learn how to run a business, we've got people here who know how to run businesses. And that would give them an opportunity to do that. So I'm you know me.
One of the things that we've talked about quite a bit that is also you guys have to consider, you know, we have the Raven Fullen House. If we can get some sort of program like this, once we get to that and build it, you're going to multiply it again. There's even more space,
right.
You know. And these are programs and things that the EDC can do that you can put your name on, and
right.
you can put this, you know, your name on EDC, you know,
right.
project, whatever. You know, she's got a name for it. And
right.
So these are things you can show that we are doing something. So.
I don't know.
It's all up to the board, you know, where do you want to
right.
go and what do you want to do?
I mean, it's a board decision, obviously, but I just think it's high time we do something actually outward. And, you know, not just signs and not just more roadscapes. We spent a crap ton of money on this new road, you know, really. And it's just, it didn't used to be that expensive, by the way. It's just, the more we kick the can, it just got like everything.
I have a board in my office from 2007 when they started working on that McGowan Street.
It's unbelievable. And I bet it cost less than $1 million back then. So what we've done, the longer we wait to do nothing, the more nothing we're going to get to do. So I'm actually looking forward to doing something. And I think the rest of the board would probably agree that if we could do it reasonably within the bounds of, like Casey said, we're not going to go broke over it, then I believe it's at least worth looking at.
Would you like to move into executive session?
Yes. Okay, so we, all right, so we are going to move into executive session. Montgomery Development Corporation will meet closed section pursuant to provisions Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code and in accordance with the authority contained in 551.072, deliberations about real property. We're going to go into executive session at 7:18. We'll be back.
Miss Cheryl? Did you forget something? I know, I was like, Cheryl was like, no? If we could get silk. System's not
watching kiddos?
Oh, it's just a country music
Oh,
video. I just put it on YouTube Music.
I got you.
Didn't know if it was. I was asked to play during the executive session, so.
We got entertainment.
Yay.
I like boots.
That's a very popular song. Did you guys know the line dancing?
Just when I thought I got in the fall in love with Tennessee, should've known better than to take it back to Abilene. Putting right back into her arms. I wasn't a match for that kind of spark. She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two stepping round the room. And judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't take a crystal ball to see a cowboy always finds a way to leave. Drinking Jack all by myself. He's choosing Texas, I can tell. Yeah, they're back.
You're not from around here, are you?
No, Tennessee actually.
I can tell. You got some kind of nerve bringing her out here again.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know. That's the way to keep England service.
Well, I guess he forgot about the Smoky Mountain rain. The Montgomery, the Memphis Blues.
Yeah, I can't get the audio system. I had the whole thing set up to go and it wasn't working because I always double check it. And I told my daughter, I rebooted and I'm rebooting it right before she's getting up to do a presentation. I was like, yikes. And then I'm sitting there struggling trying to get it all ready for her again. But yeah, I don't know what to do. I gotta call them out because we have that public meeting. Well, we have the next meeting on Tuesday and the next one on Thursday of next week. Right? Yeah. Yep. 7th and 9th. What's on the 7th? Oh, P&Z.
Train, trucks, out, New York,
You're gonna, on her, I'm gonna pull the family down here or something.
Well, can't stop letting me their stick pick. Well, the only stuff your man should pick is sit down, just watch natural deodorant, aluminum free, just the way you want it to be. Now just watch the deodorant, please. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, he's having to step back.
Eczema flares never show up at a good time. What was that? Was I can flare one? Treatment for moderate to severe eczema. Yeah, is the clear skin just gets around. So I think we need to take time. And it's really giving me less time for
Everybody here ain't from here, but we're here doing our thing. Letting go of love, put up our love, sit on the cross and drink. Take it easy, boy, we can have things.
like you do too. I just wanna wake up next to you, no makeup, baby. Nothing makes that feel like it's what it comes down to. 'Cause I just wanna be by you.
But it was for advertising, to advertise the fair for them to go into. And that was like the first, when the first was like, yeah, so it's supposed to be fair. Who do they? Huh? They had a sponsor. The fair did. Yeah. They had the Lincoln Fair. It was supposed to be businesses sponsored.
Just got too much on your plate to pay the gas line. You can always put a ring to you can. You can move on together with that girl whose heart you hold. Swear that you'll last someday further down the road. You can always put a dime on her ring. To keep if you got a chance, take it. Take it like you got a chance. If you got a dream, chase it. 'Cause a dream won't chase you back. You're gonna somebody, hold on as strong as close as you can. Till you can. There's lots of easy parts that we can over that 65. Still waiting on something to break down, bring it back alive. Always get around this.
Well, I can put it on the,
Okay, yeah, that's.
I got
Okay.
Which one? We got a special meeting for that too. We got budget coming.
we'll just put it on the regular.
All right, we are back in session at 7:50.
Yep.
And All right, Montgomery Economic Development Corporation will convene an open session, at which time the action on the matters were discussed in closed session may be considered. That is 551.072, deliberations about real property. Mr.
Make a motion to authorize city administrator to continue to negotiate on our behalf on the matters of 213 Prairie.
I second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we allow the city administrator to continue negotiation on 213 Prairie. And all those in, it's amendable, debatable, but requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And all those in noes, no noes. So,
Seconded that?
pardon?
I did, Ryan.
Yeah. Then we will indeed allow Mr. City Administrator to continue negotiations. Okay, so we are at item number 10, which is board inquiry. Do we have any board inquiries? No? Okay. Then are there any items to consider for future agendas at this time? No? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We've made a motion to adjourn, and it's been seconded by Mr. Walker. All those in favor, it's amendable, debatable, requires majority vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, the ayes carry it. Meeting adjourned.